Hello. It's Wednesday. It's the best day of the week. It's hump day. It's new comic book day. And I have two comic picks this week for you. The first one is Scarlet by Jinxworld and DC Comics. And the second one is Beyonders by Aftershock Comics. And oh, what is that? Is that a couple of signatures that you see? Yeah, because at Coliseum of Comics on Park Street in Jacksonville, the Paul Jenkins was signing comics, and also the publisher of Aftershock Comics, thank you very much, Joe Pruitt was there. So they were awesome. I sat down and chatted with them for a while. Very cool guys. If you missed out, bummer. Make sure you follow Coliseum of Comics on all social media platforms, that way you're made aware of when cool stuff like that happens there. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk comics. And this week I'm going to start with Beyonders by Aftershock. Now, you know how I normally give you a rundown of what the plot is like and how I liked it, etc, etc. Well, why would I do that when the man himself can do it? And trust me, he's got a better accent than I do. I'm ready if you are. Okay, you have a new comic out. Can you tell me about it?
Okay, so the new book is called Beyonders, and the premise of it is it's this kid called Jacob Cody, and he has a little Welsh corgi that he lives with, who is very flatulent and has one eye, based on my actual corgi called Shadwell. And he lives in Alaska, and his life's very boring, and he thinks there's no purpose to it, but he's convinced that he's on the edge of finding purpose, because he's really into decoding things, and he thinks that old mysteries like the Voynich Manuscript or you know, the Baghdad batteries or any of the stuff that's sort of like hidden like crop circles, he thinks there must be something in them. So he's one of those kids that's sort of desperate for meaning in his life, and imagine to his surprise when he finds out that all of those conspiracy theories are true. Every single thing is connected, they all mean something. So what he's told, he's approached by a group called the Beyonders, and the Beyonders are people who have fought for years to try to expose what must be the truth in society. And kind of like Assassin's Creed, they've kind of taken on the Illuminati and the people in power. The people that run the banks and the politics and all that are basically the ones that tell us everything that they stifle information in a sense, you know. And so the Beyonders are trying to decode something that's very important. In all ancient languages, there is a piece of code hidden so that we can't translate. We don't know how to decipher it. And they found it, and they need Jacob, and they've been monitoring Jacob for years, and basically they bring him into the Beyonders and say, we need you to help, you know, decode the Beyonder code. So he comes in with this little Welsh corgi, and he finds out his corgi's special, and he finds out that he's special, and he realizes, and so they start giving him things like the Voynich Manuscript to decode, and he begins to kind of see what's in it. And what's cool about the book is it is basically about the ultimate interconnected treasure hunt. When he finds out what the code might mean and how to decipher it, he begins to get clues, and those clues lead him across the world. So in the book itself, we have a treasure hunt, and in every panel, fans will find basically a little piece of information, and they can follow the clues, and if they find the right track, they'll now write into us, and they'll start trying to guess what the solution to the Beyonder code is that's hidden in the book. So as each book comes out, we'll give more and more clues, and they'll become, so you have to actually basically like follow the clues. And since I've told a couple of people, I guess I'll give you the first clue that's coming next month. The first clue is one word. We give away 100 prizes at the end. They're all really cool, trust me, but one of them is a grand prize that's awesome, and they're exclusive to this book. So that's the Beyonders.
Very cool. And how long, I guess, just real quick, this last question, how long does it take to get a book like this, which is so intricate? Like, not only because there's like a treasure map for the readers, but like you had to do like a lot of research and stuff, I'm sure, and like these conspiracy theories, like how...
One thing that's really interesting about it is how hard it is to describe individual mysteries, for example. You know, we want to work with the Voynich Manuscript, which is somewhat known by conspiracy theory buffs, but most people wouldn't know it. So if we're going to describe it, we have to kind of give information to the readers that says, this is what the Voynich Manuscript is, or this is some of the crop circles that we've been, you know, looking at, or any of that kind of stuff. And so it's incredibly research intensive. And what I do is I send Wes Sinclair, the artist, I send him a lot of links that I've got to various conspiracy theories. pictures. There's actually even one kind of really interesting incident in the book. It's one of the things that starts the book. There was a great mountain climber. The guy they attribute this phrase to, you ever heard the phrase, why did you want to climb Everest? And his answer was, because it's there.
Yeah.
Right? So his name is George Mallory. And in the early 20s, George Mallory and his climbing partner Andrew Irvin tried to climb Everest in woolen gear. And most people think that they probably made it, which is crazy. This is like literally 30 years before Sir Edmund Hillary actually got to the top of the mountain, because they could look through a telescope, and they looked up the side of the mountain, and they saw George about a couple hundred yards with Andrew Irvin from the top, heading towards the top. But he was never seen again. The clouds came in, and he was lost on the mountain, but they think it's quite likely that he made it to the top of Everest. And about 80 years later, maybe 90 years later, George Mallory's body was found on the side of Everest, and he had fallen. They found him where he lived, and they basically buried him on the side of Everest. So he's this really incredible adventurer, and he's kind of who Jake wanted. He's like Jake's, the main character's #1 hero, and you find out that George Mallory took the supplemental book to the Voynich Code up to the top of Everest with him, and he's been carrying it for 100 years, and now they found it, so they begin to like decode everything. It all ties into George Mallory and Denver Airport and all these crazy mysteries, like, and they all come together in this incredible book. So.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much. I do appreciate it.
Cool.
It was very cool. I mean, you just heard what it's about, and how can you not want to pick this comic up? It makes you think, and the little secret treasure hunt had me like... Hi, Watson. Bye, Watson. He never wants to hang out when I'm filming. Anyway, so there's this scene where Jacob is with his guidance counselor, and he appears to be about to graduate high school. And his guidance counselor says that these conspiracy theories were just a distraction. And I thought that was so funny, because I'll let you in on a little secret. I'm a part of some flat earth message boards and Facebook groups, because I really want to do a story on people who think that the earth is flat. They have conventions and stuff. I think it's really interesting. And they often say that things that NASA put out and the government puts out, like, those are distractions and this is the truth. And so, you know, kind of playing with the idea of distraction versus truth and real versus reality, and kind of flipping that on its head made me be this gif. And I really appreciated that about the story. Not to mention, let's talk about Shadwell. Shadwell, the flatulent corgi. You know what I'm gonna say. I loved him. I loved him. One day I'll probably stop talking about the cute animals that appear in comics that are kind of side characters to the main plot. But today is not that day. He farts. He wears an eye patch. I loved him so much. He actually ended up being an important character, and you'll have to pick up the comic and see why. And I will be doing a Google deep dive on some of these conspiracy theories, so when my coworkers see me looking tired tomorrow, they can thank this comic. Now, this comic had so much intrigue. I don't want to ruin it for you, so I really suggest you pick it up because it was very cool. It's conspiracy theories. It's kind of conquering Mount Everest. It's the government is watching you, and also people you know are robots. Is Paul Jenkins injecting himself into the story as weird Uncle Paul who's obsessed with sandwiches? I don't know, but after reading this comic, I don't believe in coincidences, and neither will you. Now, the next comic is Scarlet. I love a girl with a pixie cut, and as a former redhead, well, I liked her. Not just because of that, she's also a very cool, strong female lead in the sense that she understands the weight of the world is kind of on her shoulders, and the reason why that is true is because she kind of inadvertently started a revolution, also kind of apocalypse, a little bit. Let me explain. So her and her boyfriend Gabriel were just chatting when Gabriel was executed. People were trying to frame him, and when that went awry, they just decided to kill him. One thing led to another, and Scarlet sort of started a revolution all on her own. My girl. So what's going on is her and all the people on her side of the bridges in Portland are kind of living like post-apocalyptically, because they are against the government. They're living on their own, and there's a lot of violence and not a lot of resources, it seems. A lot of this comic is Scarlet talking directly to you, which I thought was really interesting. She's taking you along and she's kind of telling you what's going on right now and why people see her as a hero and how she kind of deals with that. And it felt honest. This is a fictional story, but it really felt honest. It really addressed some of the realities that you don't see in a lot of sort of post-apocalyptic, Civil War-ish type of things. And I really liked that. I thought it was really refreshing. And so you kind of felt like she was taking you along and showing you what the city looks like now, and you kind of felt like her friend. But I'm glad that I get to eat ramen on my couch tonight and don't have to be in a post-apocalyptic place where the government is sending drone strikes. She also has an interesting take on how long the world has been garbage, to which she says it has always been, but now we just have more technology. So that's kind of food for thought, which I thought was pretty cool. I guess this comic has been around before, I'll be honest. I didn't Google it before I read it because I ran straight home to read it so I could do this review. And I guess there was a storyline with her before because it said, "Welcome back." This is my first run with Scarlet and I really like her because it's a serious comic. It's not, when I say it's not fun, I don't mean it's not fun to read because I was really interested in the storyline, but it's heavy. It's heavy, there's a lot of plot, and you really learn a lot of things quickly. They're not really holding your hand plot-wise, and it's not quite last week's West Coast Avengers where everyone's being kind of goofy. It's really serious, and it's a look at what could happen. I mean, that's annoying. On a scale of 1 to absolutely don't do it, how rude is it to ask my neighbor to stop vacuuming the communal hallway while I'm trying to film something for work? I feel like it's super rude. Like she's just trying to be nice, probably. They haven't vacuumed out there in the whole 2 years that I've lived here. So I thought this was a really honest look at something that could actually happen, honestly. I think that sounds dramatic, but I think that the government has a lot of power, and so do individual people. And I think when those two things clash, really catastrophic things could happen. So, you know, with both comics this week, you kind of have a look at, you know, things the government are feeding the people, or the lack thereof. So, conspiracy theories dealing with what's real and what's not. And I would definitely pick up Scarlet. It was a good read, but serious. Now, as per usual, I got both these comics at Coliseum of Comics on Park Street in Jacksonville. Jonathan was so nice and helped me pick these two comics out, and he made sure that I knew about the signing and everything. They are so great. Jonathan and Amber are walking comic book encyclopedias. They can help you find something that you should be reading, but you're not for some reason. So go, say hi to them, tell them I sent you, and pick up something that you want to read. Alright, and that's it. I had two comic picks for you this week. Baby, we're back. That was Beyonders by Aftershock Comics and Scarlet by DC/Jinxworld Comics. And I will see you next Thursday. I know these comic reviews are light and fun, and I do them to kind of take a break from my real life. But here on Sunday, there was a shooting at the GLHF Gaming Bar and Chicago Pizza in the Jacksonville Landing. It claimed the lives of gamers Elijah Trueboy Clayton and Taylor Spot Me Please Robertson. They left behind families who love them and a gaming community who will miss them. But I'm here to say that a lot of nerd communities have each other's backs, and I think it's really important for all of us to come together in this time and realize that the gaming community is a safe space. What happened here in Jacksonville was unacceptable, and a lot of people in the gaming community and around feel the same way. So I just want to take a moment, have a moment of silence for those two men who lost their lives for just trying to have fun. And that's what being a nerd really is. It's just liking the thing that you like and being passionate about it. So for those two men, a moment of silence.